Hey, it's been a while. Alright, here is how Care Bears should go into the MCU. Because why not? So, that was probably loud. Care Bears comics 1984 to 1988 were made by Star Comics Publishing, which was owned by Marvel. Now you may be thinking, oh, okay, well, did Marvel also put out Transformers comics, so should Transformers be in the MCU? First off, yes. Second off, another character was put out in Star Comics during that 1984 to 1988 time, and that was Spider-Ham, Peter Porker, who you may know is in the Spider-Verse movie franchise over by Sony. It was also placed into all the Spider-Verse comics, as well as even the Wii game SpiderMan Web of Shadows. So there is actually a bigger precedent for characters from Star Comics going into Marvel properties. That being said, should the Care Bears be in the MCU? I think the answer is obviously yes, because they've already introduced magic and gods and followers of the gods. If you look at Moon Knight, you have avatars for these celestial creatures. Khonshu's fist, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant is going around doing all these different crazy things. Actually, like, fighting on behalf of a god. And what are the Care Bears if not guardians of the clouds? Are they not the avatars for which the Cloud Keeper propagates? So stupid. How would you add the Care Bears into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, obviously, the Guardians of the Galaxy would find the planet of Caroline, and they would so stupid. Based on the comic cover, this was right around the same time that She-Hulk was in the Fantastic Four is when this comic was published, based on the 4 on her jacket. So this would have to be in Phase 4 or later of the MCU after they've introduced She-Hulk, but before they've introduced the regular Fantastic Four cast. By creating the Fantastic Four with She-Hulk instead of the Human Torch, they would be able to differentiate themselves from 2015's Fant Four Stick, which really nobody wanted to watch anyway, and that if the rumors are to be believed, versions of those characters will show up in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and then be unceremoniously killed off, along with a bunch of other variants. Are you paying attention to the Disney Plus shows like Loki? Ooh, it's very important. So, you introduce the Fantastic Four. After the She-Hulk series comes out, you get She-Hulk in it. The Human Torch can be his own thing. He can be off doing, he can have his own power cosmic. You can tie him into Captain Marvel if you really need to. And then after you get those characters set up, that's when you bring in the Care Bears. That's when you bring in the Care Bears. The Care Bears comics were published in primarily the UK. It continued in the UK a little bit longer than in the US. So that's just kind of... Marvel UK did their own things. For a while, Transformers was considered canon in the Marvel UK longer than in the US. But that's also where it ties into some different things. When I mentioned the Guardians of the Galaxy would find the Care Bear planet of Care-a-Lot, there is some precedent to this because there's other 1980s toy franchises like Rom the Space Knight that James Gunn has already been saying in interviews that he's trying to get that tied into the Guardians of the Galaxy mythos. So it's not as entirely without precedent as it may seem. So you introduce all these other Stars comics and Marvel toy property comics that were released in the 80s, and they tie into Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's when you get the Care Bears. That's when it will tie in. And yeah, I'm gonna do more vlogs like this. Stay tuned. Here's why the Care Bears should be in the MCU.